What is up? Happy holidays. Welcome to the drop. Hope everybody is having a good one and getting ready for the new year. I'm Ruben. That's Quinn. You know that already because this is the drop. But this is a special drop.
It is very special. This is the first time in our years of doing the drop.
Multiple seasons.
Emmy
nominated.
We have ever completely freeform, ad-libbed. What we did prior to us taking this, we wandered around the store for about 30 minutes and just randomly picked up 7 wonderful sound recordings that we're going to tell you about right now. Stuff that we don't get to talk about.
Yeah, that we just like.
Yeah, stuff that we just like. Because other than the vinyl vault, we are just
new releases,
re-releases, stuff that you need to know about.
Yeah.
Well, this is just stuff we like. This is our gift to us.
This is our gift to ourselves. We get to do what we want. Take that, producer. Take that. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, man, I'll go first.
Let's go music.
All right, I'm picking a record from 1974. This is one of my favorite soul records. It's not particularly a hit record. It's one of my favorite soul records from the great Millie Jackson, and it's got one of the best covers ever.
Check it.
Caught Up by Millie Jackson. How about the spider web there? Is that great or what? This is an album about a song cycle about infidelity and
if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. She says.
Just complicated. These long form songs that are just about cheating and there she is on the phone talking to somebody about somebody cheating. I love this album. It speaks to me. It's very dark.
I've never seen it.
It is a very dark, subject matter. It's spooky. It's very much kind of like she ended up making records with Isaac Hayes, but it's got kind of that hot buttered soul vibe to it. That it's kind of dark and quiet, and I love it.
Recorded at Muscle Shoals.
Imagine that.
Guess what that's? I'm wondering what that sounds like. So all of a sudden my mind just went to the line in No Doubt, Spiderwebs. Leave a message and I'll call.
Oh yeah.
I'll call you back.
He's connecting the dots. That's what we're doing.
All right, here, you keep track of your own. We're not handing them off.
Check it out. Caught Up by Millie Jackson.
There you
Ruben,
go.
what you got for us?
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I only got to see this man one time, but I'm such a fan of his playing and just kind of what he means.
Ooh.
Just what he means to, Texas.
Was
a member of the Texas Tornadoes. Had that frontera, that border sound, that crossover. I don't even know how you describe it. This is the great Flaco Jimenez. And it doesn't matter what you have that has Flaco Jimenez's name on it. It's worth your time to listen to.
It is like call of great calling card for Latino music and on cassette tape.
On cassette tape, baby.
Cassette.
La Botana is on here. Querida. Carta de mi madre. Un amor. Yeah, come on, man. And
look how dapper he looks. That photo is like.
Look, man, this is because you know what? Because that's how he did it.
I want to party with him.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah.
But also apparently quite the hard charger.
Oh, is that right?
Liked him a long neck or two, I think.
Oh, I've
He's
seen
likes
that.
likes the cervecita.
I have witnessed that. We did it. We had him for several different.
Everybody's done an in-store here.
And
Jesus,
he likes a beer.
He likes a beer.
Yeah.
Flaco Jimenez. If you don't know him, find out. There you go. Go check him out.
Texas best, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm picking. And I just noticed
I almost grabbed a Dwight Yoakam album.
I picked another dark record. So everybody knows the first 2 Dwight Yoakam records.
Sure. Hillbilly Deluxe, Guitars and Cadillacs.
This is the 4th record. This is a dark record too. This is a record about murder. It's like it's a kind of a concept record, but it had a bunch of hits on it. I Got Used, the big hit, but there's like 3 monster chart hits off this record. Continued his hit streak, but dark record.
Buenas noches from a lonely room. Pretty much says it all.
Yeah. And but this record, man, it just when. So I loved him. Loved Pete Anderson's production. Guitar playing is
monster.
Over the top.
Monster.
Great. Loved every record, and then you get to this record, I'm like, oh my god, he's like beyond country. This guy might be like one of my absolute favorite recording artists. Like I just could not believe the streak that he was on.
Yeah.
And after this, comes this time record, which is almost kind of more of a pop production. He connected with a larger audience, but. If I had to pick my favorite Dwight Yoakam record, this is the one.
Yeah.
And check it out. If everybody's got like a hits collection or something, but you should hear the whole
record
album. It's a great story. Great.
I didn't pick it because I was looking for Guitars and Cadillacs. because I remember grabbing that out, buying that.
You know, and that is the record Guitars Catalog is the record that connected with like rock and roll fans like us.
Oh yeah,
It was just so guitar forward, and because at that time prior to him,
and Pete's the production on that album was very sparse.
It was,
you know, and Nashville was cranking out these really heavily produced, layered, you know, multi-tracked.
But he came out of that Palomino scene, so he was hanging with the Blasters and, you know, a lot of more punk,
California, the
punk and rockabilly
SoCal
stuff. So
scene,
love it.
Yeah.
All right, what's in the bag there?
So this is in the category of little, very young me playing albums on my little plastic, little plastic record player. You know, it looked like a little suitcase. But I remember listening to this album and staring at it. I probably listened to it every day in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, could not get enough of this Kiss Alive.
Boys of a certain age learned to play guitar to this record.
Yeah, man. And look how, you know, you go from anybody to like even younger players, or, you know, it doesn't matter, dude. It could be you know, it could be Dimebag, it could be John 5, it could be, you know, these guys literally have Ace Frehley tattoos on their body.
It's connected tissue,
Scott Ian from Anthrax, all huge. Very famously recorded, I believe, at Cobo Hall, right in Detroit.
Or recorded at Cobo Hall, because kids, it's hopefully not a secret at this point that all of those big double live albums from the 70s,
they weren't that live.
They were not that live.
The pictures from Detroit.
Yeah.
But
I think the Alive 2 is basically a studio record.
Yeah, sure.
With crowd noise.
Of course. So I mean, there isn't a bad song on here, man.
Well, in these live albums, so in the 70s, artists would make a live album at the end of like 4 albums.
Yeah.
Because it was a de facto greatest hits. It had all the songs that you knew on it.
Yeah.
But then they didn't have to put out a greatest hits record.
Nope.
That killed their catalog.
Yep.
Still buy the studio album.
And everybody's going to buy it.
Everybody's going to buy it.
It's a must-have.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Anyway. There you go.
All right. Nice one.
There you go.
All right. I'm keeping the 70s rock streak rolling.
Do it.
I'm picking one of my favorite albums ever. Do you know the great Norm Macdonald quote? He's like, you know, when I was stranded on that desert island, those 5 albums I brought with me didn't really help at all.
I did not know that.
But this would be one of those records I would take to that desert island. This is Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water.
I've never heard it.
I'm going to make a bold statement right here in the drop that I think this is maybe the greatest solo album by anybody of the rock era. It is unbelievably
Does
great.
he sing? Is it instrumental?
Oh, he's a great singer.
Really?
He's a great singer. And then when you hear it, you will understand, and yes, like how much he sings in that band. Like how
the backing vocals.
He sings unison with John. His voices. But here's the crazy thing about this record. It is bass and keyboards and drums. There's no guitar. But it's like it's a song cycle. I keep using that. It's conceptual. It's cool.
That is absolutely insane. Now I have to hear it.
You have to hear it. It is a brilliant, brilliant record. And he only ever made one solo record. He made records later with some other people that were more side project things, but this is his only solo record. And here's the other thing: if you like the classic, like the first, 40S records with John Anderson, or with the hit lineup, this record's every bit as good as those records.
First concert I ever went to. Yes, in the Round, 1975.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's a big deal. That was when they made the movie. That's when they made Yes songs.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What you got, man?
Oh, it's my turn. Wait a minute. I got your record. See, we're not used to this. We're not used to this. I picked this one because it was many years until I heard the entire album. It was much later, but I remember being a little kid, and I remember seeing this as the musical guest on Saturday Night Live, and loved it. That's Mr. Eddie Money.
He's great, because he really kind of fit that thing where he's not like it's kind of East Coast, it's certainly
very
East
much
Coast,
so.
And you probably connect to it based on that, right?
Very much so.
Very much funny. All around, well known for being a super cool guy.
Yeah.
And he died in the middle of that, pretty much in the middle of
that
reality
show that they were doing.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I love the hits.
Obviously plays keyboards and sax. He was a really good sax player. I'm just looking through to see if there's anybody like playing on here that we need to shout out.
I think he had kind of a steady band. It was kind of a self.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good record. If you've never heard it, he's I'm not going to say he's one of the great rock and roll voice, but he has a rock and roll voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has one of those that you're like, oh yeah, it goes good with the and had a pretty good run with a couple of videos in the 80s.
Yeah, boy, and one of the guys,
Shaken was on like every 15 minutes on
one of
MTV.
The few 70s rock guys that actually MTV worked out good for him. Like he's, Shaken and
right.
Take Me Home Tonight. Those were huge.
Yes.
Huge videos.
Yes, because we never heard from the Jay Giles band again.
Well, you lose your singer. It's tough to.
Yeah, I guess so. Peter decided to do his thing.
Okay.
Oh man, look at you!
For me. I'm picking
look at
Frank
you!
Sinatra and the Wee Small Hours. This is a record that the title defines when you should listen to it, because it's like the most quiet, chill. It's a great recording. It sounds like he's doing Duke Ellington songs. Rodgers and Hart, really kind of American songbook kind of stuff, but there's just like a late night spooky quality to it that I connect to. I love this. It's really the one of just a handful of Sinatra records that I really liked to listen to. Arranged and conducted by the great Nelson Riddle, and I think generally regarded as a 5-star, one of his best. If you don't own any Frank, maybe take a chance.
1955.
Yeah.
Wow.
And don't buy a greatest hits record.
Buy this one.
Buy an album that's the great thing about Frank. His records were conceptual. He was trying to put across an idea, and that's the ideal here. Listen to it late at night. Yeah,
that is beautiful.
It's a good record.
Yeah.
I think in another era, it was a big makeout album.
So yeah,
if people still use that term,
I
don't think they do.
Go out for a late dinner, maybe get a little pasta, a little Chianti.
Yeah,
and then when you get back to the house,
and the wee small hours.
There you go.
Yeah.
I keep trying to take your albums. I'm doing this the wrong way.
You're doing
this
great.
is new. This is new territory for us.
Yeah.
All right. So I grabbed this album because it is my favorite album by this legendary band, hands down. And people will fight you because for a lot of people, it's not their favorite album of the catalog. But I will tell you that there is a group of my friends, and we get together pretty regularly on the weekends. You probably met some of them last weekend. And as soon as anybody starts playing music, something from this album is going to come on. So
that's the one.
It's Physical Graffiti. It is Led Zeppelin. For me, and we talked about the 40th anniversary recently, and I think I think I told you why, but I grabbed it again anyway because I feel like everything they've done to that point and glimpses of what they were gonna do was represented here.
That's the peak. That is the zenith of artistry for that band, because it's all the blues stuff is still in there. And but it's loose, it's groovy. They're trying a bunch of different stuff, and it all just gels perfectly, I think. And it's really kind of too much because they follow the record that follows this.
What's after
Presence?
Oh, and yeah, that's right. It's kind of like it was not this.
It was not that. It's still a respectable record, but man, this is just brimming over with so much great stuff.
Yeah,
I do a Zoom call once a week with some friends that I've worked with in the industry for years, and that record was, and we all agreed that is the
Zoom call comes up quite a lot when we're talking.
It is the zenith of Zepp, and
yeah, man.
If you don't own that record, there's great hits on there. There's stuff from the radio, but I would say if I had to pick my 5 favorite tracks, they're not the songs you're going to hear on the radio from that record. It's so good.
I don't know what my tracks would be, but I'll tell you, number one song might be the Wonton song.
That's a great tune.
Just Bonham does this in the last verse. He does that little shuffle, and then there's that stop, and he comes back in, and that's just, I just love that man's bass drum. I love that sound. He can just swing.
Heavy foot.
He can just swing.
Yeah.
God. All right, good. Your turn. What do you got?
My turn. Hey, man, we're kind of coming out of some bluesy rock. We're going to the blues.
Beautiful.
This is Grammy Award-winning record from Houston, Texas. This is Robert
Beautiful.
Cray, the great Houstonian and
They
blues
toured,
guy.
right? They did this. This was a tour.
Johnny Copeland and Albert Collins. This is the meeting of the masters. You got again on Alligator Records.
Coming in hot.
Consecutive drop. This is a record you must own. This is probably the greatest record released on Alligator Records. You get 3 guitar, singular sounding, singular styled guitar greats.
Yeah, each legend's in their own.
Running through a bunch of songs, including Black Cat Bone, which was a song closely associated with Houston, Texas. This is a blues record you should know.
And why was that song associated with Houston?
The writer is originally from Houston, and it escapes my. I don't think he's credit. You know, like so many blues songs, the original writer doesn't get credit. They get short shrift constantly. So apologies to that artist, family, and friends that I can't recall his name, but that's probably the best song on the record. That's a song but Blackjack's great. There's a bunch of. You got to hear this record. If you
get it,
you know, and too,
Quinn's never wrong. By the way,
sensibility. If you were like a rocker and you're like, I don't really like that much blues stuff, just get this record.
Just get this one.
It's a showdown, man.
It's a showdown, man.
Showdown.
I remember when Robert Cray first came out, and he came out, and well, not when he first came out, but the first time I became aware of him was the MTV.
Yeah, Smoking Gun.
Gun. And then he was everywhere.
Yeah.
And so the thing about Robert Cray, you know this, but it's kind of nerdy guitar inside baseball. But he really sits in that out of phase. I think it's middle pickup.
Yeah.
On the Strat.
Nobody does
where most people are either they're either on the bridge or the neck, but it gives it kind of like not a tinny, but it's the Robert Cray sound.
Yeah, it is.
And he's like, yep, this is my sound. And it's really cool. But talented singer, writer, guitar player, just a triple threat. So
and I really like Robert's records when he's added like the horn section. When he added the Memphis horns in there, like Memphis Stroll. That's
love it.
Stuff.
All right. So I don't know what to say about this record. Except that I love this record, and I remember buying it, and I can't remember why I bought it, and maybe I liked the cover, and I took it home, and it blew my freaking head off. Masters of Reality. I don't know. Rick Ruben produced. This kind of came about out of that. They were kind of somehow related to like. At the time, the Caius camp. I think they recorded out at the very famous desert recording, the Hacienda. Yep. I'm getting this all wrong. Anyway, Chris Goss, lead. He's basically Masters of Reality.
Now he is. At that point, there
were other members, but man, it's just the Candy song, John Brown, Kill the King.
So this record really kind of legitimized and brought back heavy music in a big way.
Yeah,
I mean, Slayer was starting to was making records this time, but this really validated that Sabbath heavy sound.
Yeah,
and it brought it back. Like other bands really were having hits and really working with it. I love this record. I remember I actually bought the cassette because it was on the counter.
I may have done the same.
Infinite Records. Yeah, it was on the counter. I'm like, I'm buying that right now and listening to it in my car. And the
artwork is amazing.
It's great. It's one of those records from that era, from that decade. You have to hear.
Kind of, I mean, it came from that. The DNA was swirling around in that pool that eventually gave us Queens of the Stone Age.
Exactly. Yep.
For
sure.
That's So that's
for sure. I should have done this one following the Zepp. Because if you don't know Terry Reid, so this is like Terry Reid's big record, or he doesn't really have a big record, but this is his most well-known record. What you need to know about him is he was supposed to be the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. They asked him before they asked Robert.
Oh, that's right. I'm like, why does that name sound familiar?
And he, for whatever reason, he wasn't feeling. He didn't want to move to England.
Yeah.
And American guy, and bad decision. No, I don't know that they would have had.
Sure, it might not have been what we know.
And you look at what Plant has done since post Led Zeppelin. Yeah. He's a great artist. Terry, don't know if he's a great artist, but this record is terrific. And really, the song you might know from here is is Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace, which is the first song of the first Cheap Trick record.
Well,
What?
Yeah. Great tune. But he's a great singer. He's got a big, gruff, bluesy voice, and the cover's great, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool
And
record.
And I'm just guessing because I don't know anything about him. I'm just guessing that if like we were talking to him right now, and we're like, man, tell us about the guitar on the cover. That's a 59 Les Paul. I bought it off of this guy at a pawn shop for $200 or something. Because everybody of any substance of that era somehow ended up with a burst.
Yeah. Right.
It was and now they're $250,000. Mm-hmm. Here, I keep trying to take your record. This is, something is going.
How we doing?
I think we're doing good on time. We're doing good on time. All right, so next album is of their catalog, also my favorite album, and I judge that by the album I go back to the most for a band.
That's right, because it's all about what you like the most and not what resonates with you most, and not necessarily the best.
Yes,
that's what it's about.
Yes, I thought that the guitar playing was particularly it was so far away from like what I played or listened to, but it worked, and it was just like there was this energy there. I don't know, I couldn't describe it, but it's also the first Fugazi album anybody played for me, so that's why it became the one I love. And I got to see him, luckily, and it was I don't know, did you ever see him?
No.
So they would play.
Jonathan did.
Yeah,
Jonathan did.
They played the old VA. The old. It became Homage downtown. It was the old.
That's what Jonathan.
It was the old VFW. Elvis played that stage. Wow. Anyway, so Ian Mackay and the rest of these guys. Their shows were always $5. Right, and they wouldn't let you charge any more than $5. Well, the problem with that is you didn't end up playing in like clubs with great PAs,
right?
Or there'd be rented gear, or there'd be something that was just kind of not up to par. If I remember the story correctly, because the sound was not great. They were amazing. Glad I saw him. It's one of those, I can check that box that I saw those guys. But if you don't know and you want to check out like a really cool moment in American post-punk, what do we call them?
Hugely influential. I still consider that punk.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Do you know the great comedian Todd Barry? He was on Fly to the Conchords. He's like a shorter.
Oh yeah. I know who he is. Yeah.
He has this great bit on one of his. He has a comedy album. It's all about music, and he's like, "You think that guy from Fugazi?" Like the drummer in Fugazi ever went to Ian McCain and said, I got a great idea. How about we charge $7 a ticket and I can move out of my mother's basement?
I love the whole straight edge, stick to the guns, DIY, but really.
Yeah. I need
a living wage.
Two extra dollars. Okay, I'm up next. I picked this record. I think Ruben is a big fan of this record. I love this band. This is the record that I really connected with them. This is from 1991, Creation Records, which ended up bringing us a bunch of great Britpop
everything
bands.
Great.
But this is really rooted in a lot of effects pedals,
the shoegaze, baby, the gaze.
Shoegaze. This is, I think, the kind of this is the big shoegaze record for me to connect with, because all the songs are great. The vocals are super cool. All the guitar effects are great. And it's also got this kind of Eno-esque, like sonic. Great headphone record. Very sonic. If you're not, and they just had a terrific new album come out this year. Yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to pick this, because it's great. We get to talk about new releases. We don't get to talk about the classics all that much.
Good choice.
This is a record you need to check out.
Especially if you have this record.
If you like dreamy guitar pop stuff, this is right up there.
Yeah. And if you don't know them, you're probably going to be like, oh, wait, I've heard something that sounds like that.
Oh, yeah, you have.
Because they influence a lot of people. All right, this is new-ish, kind of. It is indeed. But I just saw these guys live. This is Foals, and they're an interesting group. They definitely have their own sound. Pop, but I don't know. It's hard to describe. I saw them open for Paramore, and
amazing singer.
Yeah, amazing singer. And Wake Me Up, to me, when I heard it, this is the latest album, sounds like a Duran Duran track.
Oh, it kind of does.
You know, but it's this album's going to make you feel good. You put this music on, it's going to make you feel good. You know, not a household name in America for sure, but
much bigger in UK,
much bigger, and come festival time, they're probably on every festival.
Yeah.
2 a.m. is fantastic. It's just good. There you go. Foals, check it out.
They rock the record, so they rock Cactus. And I'll tell you what, if you look, fans, viewers at home, right there, my fingers pointing at our autographed Foals artboard hanging on the wall from them hanging out. And
you're like a walking, you're like the Smithsonian.
We just got a lot of stuff going on.
God.
A lot of stuff going on.
I wish I lived closer.
I mean, that's, you know what? That's the legacy of the almost 50-year business. We've had a bunch of great stuff.
And this is why you should support your independent record stores.
You should. You should. And not just Cactus, but there's many other fine ones.
But primarily Cactus.
But primarily Cactus. If you can swing.
If you're the Houston area, please come by.
Okay, for my last pick, I decided to pick a record by probably my favorite musician.
Yeah.
Somebody very meaningful to me. This is Ian McLagan. This is his crazy 1978 cocaine-fueled record he made with Ronnie Wood and his buddies. He has the noble distinction of being in 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame bands. He was in
the Faces.
He was in the Faces and the Small Faces.
Right.
And then just in-demand sideman for Bob Dylan and Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Brown, but he retired in Austin and would play regularly, and it was just Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I didn't know he was living there. It was at a show in Austin.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Ian McLagan's standing next to me. Everybody's got their favorite musician that's not an A-lister.
Yeah, that's your guy.
He's such a wonderful, great guy. He's one of those guys that makes you feel like you're the rock star.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Funny. But if you want to,
I'm learning stuff.
If you want to see a great moment with Ian McLagan before he passed, he's on Ronnie Wood's TV show, and it's just them kind of reminiscing and talking about something.
That thing's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess.
That thing is a hot mess.
And I love it. So that's my final pick.
And I love Ronnie. A friend of mine in high school, we used to go over to his house, and his dad had a record that we used to listen to all the time. And this is 1981. It was Ronnie Wood, Give Me Some Neck.
Oh, I love that record. If I had seen that first, I might have picked that one.
Yeah, man, we played that. And you know what? I can't say that.
And that's that is just all loose groove.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here's my last one. I had this on cassette. I bought it the minute I heard, I guess, the single, and it turns out the whole freaking record is amazing.
I love this record. I put this thing on in the Record Ranch all the time, and people are like, "What is that?" And they buy. It's because that keyboard sound is so of its own time. This record, top beginning to end, is brilliant.
There's not a bad song on here.
He never made a record that was as good as this record again. I mean, I think this is the absolute zenith of
it's just
his
a
work.
Beautiful piece of work, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
I love this record. That's awesome.
It really is. And I just I just heard the single, and I have boxes in my garage of boxes of cassettes and CDs that I bought for one song, and the rest of the album was trash.
Yeah. Not this one.
Trash. This is amazing. So, Arc of a Diver, Steve Winwood, go get it.
If I'm working in our record room, I will just, because it's right next to the booth, I'll just go to the W's, pick that up, throw that on. Somebody always comments on. It's like, what is, because that keyboard sound, for people that are fans of like electro,
we're having this is the high fidelity moment.
Yeah, it's like the soul stuff. They hear that in like modern soul stuff.
Yeah,
like, what is that?
Yeah,
they get it.
Yeah, and what does he put? What does he put on in Beta Band?
Beta Band.
He goes, I'm gonna sell whatever copies, because the guy asked for Green Day or something, right? Yeah. No, is it Green Day?
No, I think he just like announces like it's his pick, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna sell 5 copies
because it's Jack Black's character that does it, right? Yeah. All right, man, we made it through. That was fun. I think that was fun. I think that was fun, and I think